What's going on, guys? 1 second, we'll get started here in a few minutes. There's a very slight 5-minute bear day. I'm going to show you guys that here in a second. Keeping an eye on it, trying to get into some scalps on my Interdex account. Hey, Max, what's going on, man? Futures down 300 points. Are they really? I actually didn't take a look. That's a good point. Let me take a look. When did the market open? Because I'm still delayed. I'm delayed by 10 minutes. Does it open at 6? I'll have to wait like 5 minutes to see. Yeah, no, you can't see yet. I'm going to pull it up here in a few minutes. It opens at 6? Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to... I hope you mean the Dow, right? The Dow is down 300, not the SPY or the ES. You're talking about the Dow, right? The Dow, okay. Okay, good. That's not a whole lot. 300 points. What percentage is that? It's like 1%? 1.5%? That's not terrible. Most likely it's down 300 points because of the coronavirus first death in the United States. Talked about that on Discord a little bit. Gonna probably pull the markets back slightly on Monday. I'm thinking we see at least a small bounce um, before Friday, but you never know. If the coronavirus keeps getting worse and worse in the United States, it's going to continue to go down. Alright guys, get started here in a few minutes. I know you guys can't see my stream. Just doing something real fast before we get started. Okay, yeah, now I can see the data on the futures. Yeah, it's about a 3% drop. It dropped 600 points. Yeah, it dropped 3% on the SPY. Max, I know, man. I just said that. I know you guys can't see my stream. I'm gonna turn it on here in a second. Yeah, not yet, Servic. I'm just taking a look at something real fast. That I don't want to show on stream, obviously. All right, let me turn this. Make sure you guys can hear the music. All right, there we go. All right, guys. So, yeah, I was taking a look at the futures real fast. Gaps down on all U.S. equities. So, SPY, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, all gapping down here. Let me turn the music down a little bit. Not looking too hot for the equities market. That's obviously because of the first death in the United States. Coronavirus still spreading like crazy. You've got a lot of fears in like California mainly. Nowhere really else in the United States. Mainly just California, West Coast. I did just see, I think there was one in Chicago. There's one in, the first death was in Washington State. So basically everything is in the West Coast. East Coast, we had a few scares like last month, a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think anything's really happened since then. The East Coast is still pretty safe. I'm thinking we do fill this gap unless something major happens on the rest of the week. I think we do fill this gap here by the end of the week. I feel like last week was just too bloody of a week to see a continuation. Probably will see a slight bounce. How many points is it down? It's down 45 points. Yeah, it's hard to say. This is one of those times where it's just extremely difficult to trade. If you're trading based on like technicals, your technicals are going to be getting destroyed by this fundamental stuff that's happening with the virus and with the Fed and everything else going on. So I'd be extremely careful trading right now if you're trading like U.S. equities. Now, if you're trading Bitcoin, like I've been saying, I don't see a strong correlation. There's definitely not a tradable correlation. So if there is a correlation with Bitcoin and the coronavirus, it's not tradable. There is nothing. There's nothing happening that is very evident. That is pushing the Bitcoin market here or there. So all these little statements that people are making on crypto Twitter or whatnot, saying this is a correlation, this is a correlation. It's not a correlate. It's not helpful unless it's tradable, right? If you can't find a correlation that is 100% trade, well, not even 100%, but at least profitable, 70, 60, 80% evident, there's just no point even looking at it. And I haven't found any correlations with what's going on with coronavirus and Bitcoin. Like I said last stream, the only correlation you could draw is the fear that is striking the market in like the equities sector and everything else. That could be spilling over into crypto and people are just selling everything. It's just a basic capitulation across the board. That's like the only correlation you could make. I don't see any other correlation. So if anybody is making correlations, unless they've got really good data to back it, I feel everything that's happening in Bitcoin is technical. There's nothing happening in Bitcoin that could be drawn to the coronavirus. That's my take on it. What's going on? Sawyer, I think is how you say your name. Sawyer. How's it going, man? Summary of markets week 4 has been released in Discord. So if you guys are in the Discord, make sure to check that out. I think it was about 25 pages. A little shorter than last week. More to the point, obviously. Not a whole lot you can say about the U.S. equities markets and whatnot because it's just being killed by this virus. Looks like oil is also gapping down, but you're recovering. But yeah, we talked about SPY. There's an equities play in there as well. What was it? WCP, I believe it was. We talked about gold, oil, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the usuals. That is in our summary of markets section of the Discord. We also posted last week's summary of markets in the Telegram. So if you guys are in the free Telegram, feel free to look through any of the old summary of markets. You can kind of see how we do them in the Discord. And for today only, we are doing a discount on the Discord. We're dropping the price down to $195 from $299. So if you guys want to get involved and take a look at the summary of markets and take a look at what we have going on in Discord, check that out on the website. The discount code is right up. I'll post it right here on the top of the screen. See if I can fit this in somewhere. It might be too long. There it is. All right, the top right is the code. You guys can take a look at that. Yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin. So the first thing I want to talk about here, we were looking at kind of this like descending triangle forming here. We had a couple of fake outs here and there, but nothing too evident. You broke the original low like multiple times, but every time it broke that low, it wasn't able to maintain that low. So we popped back up, and now we're currently breaking this downtrend that this descending triangle was forming, right? So if we look at kind of the Momo here, you can see there's a clear 1 hour bull div. It's like a triple bull div where you have that initial failure kind of right here, and you have that secondary failure and then the third failure. And you can see each failure, the momentum is rising. So the 1 hour is kind of creating this bull div throughout this descending triangle because the momentum is just not there to send the price downward and confirm that triangle. So what I'm looking for here for like a little interdax trade is a break of this downward this downward trend with some good momentum. So the momentum's starting to come in here. I'd like to see some momentum kind of push up. I would like to see it turn green on the lower time frames on the OTS. It hasn't turned green just yet, but we are waiting for that on the like 15. I think it's green on the 15. Yeah, so it's green on the 15. It's green on the 5. It's green on the 30. So lower time frames are turning green. The 1 hour has not turned green yet. So still waiting on the 1 hour to kind of confirm that breakout. And since this analysis is being done on the 1 hour, that is why I want to see this 1 hour turn green, because this is kind of like an early confirmation where these lower time frames are turning green. But since I'm watching this analysis on the hourly, that's the time frame that I want to see confirm that trend, right? We're waiting on that a little bit. Rhode Island, I guess. What are you talking about? He's about the virus. He said, is there any discount on indicators? We're not doing a discount on the indicators right now. We do plan on doing a discount probably within the next week or so. So keep your eye on that. We'll probably be releasing that on our Twitter and whatnot. But we don't have one going currently. There is a discount for the Discord members. Obviously, you get 10% off. We also have a discount on the summary of markets. If you look at the bottom of the summary market in Discord, you can get an additional 10% off. But you have to read through the summary of markets to find that discount code. Yeah, we do plan on doing a discount probably in the future. Not sure when. But right now, we are doing a discount on the Discord. Hey, Cash, he said, been scalping on the 10-minute with some EMAs I experimented with, doing me good. Yeah, man, I like the 10-minute. I played with the 10-minute for a little while, actually. We used to use it on stream a lot. I like using the 10-minute as, like, confluence for the 15. So, like, if I'm seeing, like, a bear div or a bull div on the 15, I'll always go to the 10-minute just to see, like, what it looks like on the 10. And typically when they're showing divs, like, at the same time or relatively the same, it's typically pretty powerful. It sucks, man. I was longing this play right here on my Interdax account. And then I went to bed around, I think it was like 3 or 4 a.m. And then guess what? Right after I went to bed, boom, exactly what I was waiting for played out. But since I'm using such high leverage on my Interdax account, I think I was up to like 20x. It was like 15 or 20. I built into it. But since I'm using such high leverage, I cannot leave those trades open. So if I'm going to bed or if I'm leaving my PC, I have to tighten my stop losses really tight. And that's what I did here. My original stop loss would have actually worked. Let me see what my trade was. I posted it in the Discord. I think I actually built this even bigger. I had 4,500 contracts. So my original stop loss was, what was my entry there? My original entry was a little bit lower because I built it up. It was 85.40. It was around there. 85.40. Yeah, so my original stop loss was like below this low right here. If I would have kept that stop loss, I would have been okay. But since I built the position up and then I was getting ready to go to bed, I raised my stop loss. And then we got stopped out on this little move here. And then I went to bed and then boom. So that sucked. But we're still looking to get some more scalps involved here. I'm currently in, I think, like... Let me take a look. I'm currently in 9th place. But the difference between 9th place to, like, 4th or 3rd place is pretty slim. One good trade and I can easily be in 3rd or 4th place and get close to in the money. I'm being very passive right now. I'm building my positions with like a pyramid mindset. Very, very tight stop losses. So I'm not being extremely aggressive. I'm down 3% right now. But I'm down 3%. I'm only 1 for 5. I've only won 1 trade. I've lost 4 trades. And I'm down 3%. That shows you how I'm doing these trades. That 1 win paid for 4 of my losses, basically. So I need like one more good trade and I'll be back in the money. We're not in the money, but I'll be in the running for it. If you guys want to get involved in these Interdax competitions, like I said, we're doing a little promotion for Interdax. Since Interdax lets us see the username and volume from the people who use our referrals, if you guys use our referral link, just confirm with me, and then we can give you access to the indicators for 30 days to try them out. And then after that, if you want to continue to get access for free, you just have to hit our metrics on Interdax. Like 10k Bitcoin in volume gets you one indicator. I think it's 20k gets you 2, and then 50k gets you 3. So check out that promotion. I have that on Twitter. If you guys check that out, you can see what I'm talking about. Are you still holding UWT? Yes, I am. I'm still building that position. I'm very negative right now, but it's a long-term position, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I am still holding. I've got about 1 or 2 more ads left before I start to get a little worried. I'm going to double my size probably one more time. Where is it here? I'll probably double my size one more time and then call it. I was going to double at 6. Or no, I did double at 6. I'm probably going to double again if it hits like $4 maybe. My current average is around $7. So I'm definitely negative right now. We're taking some heat. I'm down like 25%. Like I said, though, long-term position. This is the most drawdown I've taken in a long time. Probably the most drawdown I've taken in the past like 2-3 years. But I'm using a different technique on kind of this trading portfolio. This is my long-term portfolio, so I'm not worried about having like 1% stop losses or 2% stop losses. I'm using kind of an overall outlook on the market. If I'm bullish on the market, I'll hold it and take some drawdown and build the position. If I'm flipping bearish, I'll close my position. But yeah, I'm still building into it. I probably have about 1 more ad, maybe 2. Drawdown periods are a part of trading no matter how good the trader is. Yeah, definitely. Exact. Depending on your technique, obviously, drawdown's going to be bigger here, bigger there. Smaller here if you're doing like scalping, you know what I mean? You said, I realized closing my trades overnight, if my bias isn't being respected, and re-entering the next day while being able to manage the trade helped a ton. Yeah, I really need to start doing that. It's one of the biggest things that played into my losses the past few months on crypto, was I was holding trades overnight and they were killing me. I haven't been trading as much lately in the past couple of months as we were when we first started the group. If you look back at when we first started the group, I was doing like 20, 30 trades a month. I'm doing about like 1 to 5 right now. I've been managing some meetings with some big people. We have a major partnership that we are getting ready to announce very soon. Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. It's probably why you guys have seen that I'm not as active trading lately. I've been working on expanding the business more so than working on my trading. Once these meetings that I've been doing, once these partnerships are established, I'm gonna get back into my trading. I think you guys who trade futures, you guys who trade equities, you guys who are not just here for crypto, you're going to be very happy with the partnerships we have coming up. But that's about all I can say right now. Let me see. Did I miss any messages? Seraphic said, ETH USD 3 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute. Bulls having a rally, but looks like it's starting to die down. Let me take a look. ETH. Yeah, 3 hour looks good. Bull div still trying to play out on Ethereum. You got a very, very slight kind of triple bull div here. This is the bull div setup that we saw in the 2019 low of Bitcoin, where you had that massive impulse down. It created that initial low, and then you came back and you made a very slight low, and then you made kind of that final low, and then you pumped up. And it gave you a triple bull div, but it wasn't a bull div from this section, but it was a bull div from this section. Same exact thing we saw 2019 low on Bitcoin that called the bottom at around 3K. So it's a very strong bull div pattern. We're going to keep an eye on that for sure. Yeah, 1 hour still bottoming. You don't have that green candle yet. 15, very nice bottom here. No bull div, but look at that massive gain in momentum. You can see that momentum gain on the Momo. You had that massive impulse down, and then this slight impulse down here, this continuation move down. Look at the momentum though. There's no downward momentum there. And then you flip bullish, and then boom, you have that move up. I've been using just the short-term Momo for my scalping. You can still use the full-on Momo with the trend line, but I find that if you're scalping very low time frames, like the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, just using the histogram is very powerful. The 15 minute is an exception though, because of the 15 minute on the Momo, if you put on the candle, the background colors, the 15 minute gold and purple are very strong at finding tops and bottoms. Like you see here, it warned you of the top, failure. It warned you of the bottom. You warned of a bottom here, warned of a bottom here. You had that top warning there. So the 15 is an exception. If you're using the 15 minute for your scalping, you definitely want to pay attention to those shadings. I have the Momo on my other screen here, so I don't need it on both of my screens. This screen is a mess. This screen is where I look at all my indicators. What I'm doing right now is I have all my indicators on one screen. That's why it looks like a mess. And then I have no indicators on the other screen, except for the Momo. We also have a 3-hour bottom warning coming in as well on Bitcoin. I think it's a 4-hour as well. Yeah, 4-hour bottom warning as well. 8-hour as well. 12-hour. Daily. Pretty much every macro time frame on Bitcoin is warning for a bottom. So one or two things could happen. It could form a big bull div like we saw, like I said, on the bottom of Bitcoin on 2019, where you had that purple signal come in and you had that bottom warning, but then you went for a new low, so one more leg down. It created a bull div, and then you pumped off of that. So we could see that happen, or we could just see this bottom play out here, and then it start to rise. So like I talked about yesterday on stream, was my Tenkan line theory, where when you push away from the Tenkan line on Bitcoin on the 12-hour, typically within 10 to 12 bars is when you retest the Tenkan line, right? So the Tenkan line was pretty far away from the 12-hour during yesterday's stream, but we've gotten very close to price since then. So for that little theory to play out, it only has to bounce about 2% now to test that Tenkan line. It doesn't have to bounce like 5% like we were seeing yesterday. So keep your eye on that. We could pop up and test the Tenkan, or even go as far as testing the Kijun line a little higher. What we were watching on stream for quite some time was that 12-hour Kumo twist bearish, which we finally got, and now we have that resistance building as we push higher. So also keep your eye on that. Another thing we were looking at was on the 15-minute. I know it's a little messy here. 15-minute, we are testing the 100 EMA as well as VWAP. So both line up pretty much at the same exact level. I don't have VWAP on the chart here, but it is right there on that same level. Also lining up with the bottom of the cloud. So this little level here that price is failing is a confluence of resistance, which I thought about shorting here because there is so much confluence on my Introdax account. But there is no good stop loss here. For typically my strategy that I'm using right now, I like to have like a 0.3% stop loss. That's not really good enough for this trade. But nope, it looks like it's playing out right now, so maybe it is good enough. But I'm not currently taking it. It'd be hard to manage while I'm on stream. 15-minute also signaling for a top. Like I said, very, very strong on the 15. It's also lining up with the downward trend as well. It might be worth it, honestly. 0.3% stop loss is very, very tight, though. That's why I'm losing so many trades. I'm 1 for 5 right now, but I'm only down 3%. Because I'm using 0.3% stop losses, using very, very tight stops. Let's take a look at exo charts here. Yeah, we do have a little bit of bearish momentum coming in on the order book as well. Are you hedging it? I think you're talking about my Bitcoin long, I believe, or no, you're talking about UWT. I'm currently not hedging my UWT trade, but I will start hedging if it continues downward. Let me see. Did I miss anything? I had so much confluence to shorting the 8750 pump today, but was busy. Shake my head and missed it. Yeah. You can't make them all, man. It sucks we can't sit at the PC 24 hours a day like a robot, but hey, Will, you said, how do you interpret high positive delta plus low volume? High positive delta plus low volume. So you're talking about, let's see if I can find an example. High positive delta, low volume. So you're talking about, are there any examples here? Why is this on 15 million? It should be on 10 million. That's very weird. Let me fix this real fast. So I have a delta chart here, so you're not gonna be able to see high delta with low volume. Let me go to just like an hourly chart. All right, let's see. I don't see any really high positive delta with low volume here. I mean, I can just talk about it without an example. It's kind of an example. Where'd that go? I just saw one. Yeah, right here. So you have 20 million bullish delta, but you only have 60 million volume. So what that's kind of showing you is if you have really high positive delta, but you have low volume, when you have a low volume market, or just like a low volume candle, that's telling you that not a lot of people are competing, right? There's not a lot of people interacting with whatever's going on the chart. Maybe you're on a low, maybe you're on a high, maybe you're testing a support, whatever. When you have low volume, not a lot of people are participating. So it's best to trade signals that have high volume because you have a lot of people watching those signals, right? You have a lot of people trading during that market structure or whatever you want to look at. So when you have a low amount of volume but a high delta, that's basically showing you that if there is, say, 50 million, or let's just use that example, there's 60 million volume, 20 million buy delta, that's showing you that out of that small crowd, most of those people were buyers, but there was nobody really competing against them. So it's not that strong of a signal. If there is high volume and high delta, that's usually a good sign because there were a lot of people competing, so they were battling, right? It's like a battle candle. They were battling, and the bulls or the bears won. So now all those people that lost are going to be trapped, right? So like, for example, this candle here. This candle has 365 million volume, 22 million sell delta. So the sell delta is not that high for that kind of volume candle. But that does show you that there are a lot of trapped bulls there because the sell volume is not that high, or the sell delta is not that high. So if the sell delta is higher, that means there's less bulls, right? So you actually want there to be not that high of a sell delta, but you want there to be a sell delta for a candle like this. Because the lower the sell delta, the more bulls were involved, if that makes sense. So because there was more bulls involved in that candle, there's more bulls trapped when it starts to go down. And I can show you that based on an imbalance. So if we look at an imbalance here, why is it not showing? Let's go to void. Not showing for some reason. Let me refresh this. I think it's like bugged. Huh. I'm not sure why this isn't working. I think it's like bugged or something. So it should be showing the imbalance here. None of the text is working. Interesting. Okay, so I can't show you right now because it's bugged. I do apologize. But what I was going to say is the imbalance will show you those trapped buyers or sellers. So because there's a lot of volume, and then there's not that big of a delta, there's a lot of buyers in this candle that got trapped. So same thing on this candle. Very high volume, not that big of a buy delta. So there is a lot of trapped sellers kind of in that candle. Because there was a lot of selling going on during that candle, but price didn't push lower. So hopefully that makes sense. It'd be easier if I could show you, but it's like bugged right now for some reason. Let me see if it'll work on this one. No, still not working. Huh. So I like looking at delta charts because it shows it the best. Because if you're looking at a delta chart, every single one of these candles is 10 million delta, or yeah, 10. It's supposed to be 10 million. Sometimes they're a little off, but for the most part, every candle is 10 million. So what I look for is if I zoom out, these dark blue sections right here, this is where a lot of volume happened in what's called a delta squeeze. So when there is a shit ton of volume inside of a small delta, that's a delta squeeze because it's a battle. The bulls and the bears are just battling for a long period of time inside that candle. Or it doesn't even have to be a long period of time. It just has to be a lot of volume. But typically, it's a long period of time. So what you'll see usually is when that squeeze candle is broken to the high or the low, you'll typically see reversals or you'll see breakouts in that direction, right? So like for example, this top candle here, this top candle here is a delta squeeze because we have low volume, low volume, low volume, very high volume. So you're going from a bullish to a bearish delta. And you also have a delta squeeze on that reversal candle. So what did that tell you? That told you that during the battle all the way up, this was like hitting a resistance. and it just battled for a long period of time. And then it found a lot of volume, 100 million in volume, but the bulls lost. So then once you reversed here, green to red, and you broke that low, high volume, and you continued downward. So kind of the same thing here. You see an accumulation. You have 1, 2, 3, about 3 or 4 delta squeeze bars. These ones aren't too high. They're only about 100, but that's still pretty good. And then once that low was broken, very strong impulse. So kind of a fake out here. Same thing. Delta squeeze, delta squeeze. You broke the low, continued downward, but then it trapped. And you have a massive reversal here. So there's a lot of trapped sellers down here. If this continues upward, it's going to start squeezing these sellers. It hasn't continued upward too far yet. It's only like, what, $200, $150? It's not too crazy just yet. But if this starts to continue higher, like $400, $500, these guys are going to get stopped out pretty rapidly. You can see they're already getting stopped out. You see all these guys getting stopped out, these green dots. These are all these people that were trapped getting stopped out. That's one way you can use like the delta and the volume to your advantage. It's still rejecting VWAP here. It's still rejecting that 100 EMA. The problem is, like we were just talking about, let me go back to this. There's not a lot of volume. On the delta chart, there's a decent amount of volume, so you're getting a squeeze candle here. But let's go to a time frame chart. Let's go to like a 15-minute. There's not a lot of volume right here. So you would think, if you're rejecting VWAP, you're rejecting the 100 EMA, you're rejecting the downtrend, you're rejecting the daily POC, that's a large confluence of rejection. You should be seeing a strong sell-off with that kind of confluence. You know what I mean? We're not seeing a lot of volume right here. You're not seeing the kind of volume that you would typically want to see for that strong of a confluence level. I think a lot of people are scared of that, all the bull divs coming up. There's bull divs on tons of macro timeframes. I think a lot of the people who want to short are a little reluctant, like me. I could have shorted that confluence, but I don't know if it's worth the risk on this high leverage account. Will said, I've been watching Litecoin lately. I've been trading. It's been leading Bitcoin. Right now, it broke down from a descending triangle, and it's getting rejected on the 1 hour. Take a look. Yeah, so this does kind of have that descending triangle like we see on Bitcoin. You have that kind of initial low, and then you have this kind of downward trend here. And we broke down. I wouldn't say this is getting rejected though. This is kind of consolidating at the bottom of it's consolidating at the bottom of that level. It's regaining that level. So this is actually slightly bullish. This is a deviation play. So this is actually bullish. I wouldn't consider this rejection until it loses this level. If it loses this level, then that's becoming a rejection. No, you cannot. There's no equities on this. They do have stuff like this on NinjaTrader, on Sierra charts. I can't think of any other ones. Those are the two that I know. NinjaTrader has order flow stuff, and then Sierra charts does as well. That I believe you can use on equities. I've never used Sierra charts, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I would actually consider this a bullish play. Your invalidation would be a break of the deviation, or you could even tighten it up, but this is risky. If you tighten it into the deviation, you could easily get stopped out. But if you put your invalidation below the deviation, it's about a 3% invalidation. That is the trade that you would take. But you're still inside this descending triangle, so it's the best trade here is no trade, honestly. If you're not in a trade already, these setups that we're seeing are just not clean. You could make a case for both sides. Like if you guys in chat were like, "Hey man, I'm shorting this to blah blah, blah like whatever level, it doesn't matter." I would agree with you to a certain extent. Like I understand why you're shorting. And then if you guys are going long, I understand why you're longing. It's just a really hard level here. Let's wait to see the daily, weekly close in 50 minutes. Yep. What is the weekly going to look like? Let's take a look. The weekly is going to look horrendous. Yeah, the weekly looks really bad. The problem is with Bitcoin, you can't trust these weekly candles. Like, for example, this weekly candle here, I actually shorted this. I shorted this on, or I don't know if I shorted. I might have closed my long. I know that I was scared of this. I was scared of this weekly candle here, and then it just rocketed upward. And then same thing here. Massive weekly candle accumulation, rocketed upward. Now you do have some weekly continuation, like when you're in a clear downtrend. We're still bullish here on the OTS, so it's really hard. You had a weekly down candle here that mooned upward massively. Same thing here. Massive weekly downward, retraced. Same thing here. You had a small failure downward, then it retraced upward. These weekly candles are not as easy to trade as equities when you see those big weeklies. One thing to look at is the 3-day OTS. I told you guys about the candle coloring. Very, very strong at determining trend. Currently red, but you're dojiing already. You already have dojis. There's no momentum on this red flip. How are equities handling this? Looks like they're slightly recovering. Yeah, oil's recovering a little bit here. How big of a drop was that on oil? Because this is going to kill my UWT. 4% recovered down to 2. That's not that bad. Not that bad. Okay, so the 1 hour is turning green here, but there's no momentum on the candlesticks. The Momo is showing some strength here. You're breaking above all of your previous highs from the past day or two. But you have no momentum on the candles just yet. Sorry guys, just responding to some messages real quick. Take a look at this. 15-minute. Trying to climb here, but losing momentum on the Momo. 10-minute as well. 5-minute had a slight bear div here. I called this out in Discord. You are seeing a pullback because of that bear div. You're still maintaining this uptrend, though. One sec, guys. You know, my window's getting a little hot in here. Are you guys looking at any equities right now? You guys looking at picking up any equities in the dips, or are you guys waiting for this coronavirus to kind of push over? I don't know if I agree with buying like big stakes in equity companies right now. I understand the mindset, buying the blood, but taking a look at the SPY, that's a hard buy. We talked about on stream this week that like 280, 290, this whole little support here. We talked about this on stream that if it were to push higher here, if it were to take this high, this is where it needs to bounce. So if you're still like very bullish on the SPY and you think this is this kind of a trap, it needs to bounce here. If you lose this support, it's not going to break into a new high for some time. But if we do hold this support here, this like 280 to 300, I think we could easily see you could recover from this pretty quickly. The Fed could cut rates. Trump could do some kind of magic to prop the market up for his election, obviously. So I think that if you can maintain these levels of support, we can push into a new high. We lose 280, it's not looking too good. You probably will at least retest like 260. But yeah, during the bloodbath, I'm probably going to be looking at picking up some blue chip companies. Probably like Johnson & Johnson, Pepsi, stuff like that. Companies that pay good dividends. Companies that have been around for a while. They've got really good year-over-year growth. Those are the kind of companies you want to pick up during massive corrections like this. Like Costco, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, Pepsi, Coke. Maybe even some tech companies. They're a little riskier. But you can see Johnson & Johnson historically extremely strong stock year over year. Pays good dividends as well. Pepsi, same thing. Very strong year over year. Pays good dividends. Some other ones, Coke. A little more volatile. Same thing though, year over year. Good growth. What are some other ones? Like Verizon. Verizon's pretty good on dividends. Johnson & Johnson's balance sheet is always solid. It really is. Johnson & Johnson is one of those companies, even if, like, look at what happened recently this year, or technically last year. They had a lot of lawsuits going on with, like, their baby powder and whatnot. They've been dealing with a bunch of lawsuits for quite some time. They lost these lawsuits and had to pay millions of dollars, and they still recovered within a month or two. It's one of those companies that's like damn near untouchable. They have very bad publicity come out. They have bad lawsuits coming out. They still continue to go higher. So definitely keep your eye on that. Costco, another really big one. Fantastic year-over-year growth. Obviously hard to buy it here, but if there's a major correction, Definitely looks pretty good. What are some other ones? Walmart. Walmart, not bad if there's a correction. You guys know of any other ones? What else are you guys looking at? Give me 1 second, guys. Goddamn pop filter. Sorry, guys, my mic messes up. You said Beyond got obliterated, but it looks like it's bouncing off a daily pivot. Let's take a look. These pivots on Walmart look pretty good. Kroger, I was trading Kroger like 4 or 5 months ago. Or probably not even that longer, probably like 2 months ago. It ended up killing me though. I was trading some options and whatnot. You were talking about Beyond. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, the daily pivot looks really good. Beautiful. Take a look at this, guys. You want to take a look at a pivot. Look at that pivot on SPY. This correction came all the way down and tapped that pivot damn near to the dollar. Almost to the penny. And then bounced off of it. Pretty nicely, actually. Had about a 4% bounce off that pivot. Now, obviously, we're falling down currently. Let me take a look at the ES. The ES had that pivot as well. You tapped your 50% retracement here. This is a retracement from the high. So if you take the low to the high, we're bouncing off the 50 currently. Which I actually need to post this in Discord. I called this out in Discord last week. But yeah, same thing here. You had that daily pivot. You're actually putting in a new pivot. So this level is very important. You had a very old pivot from about a year ago, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, about a year ago. And now we're creating a new pivot on that same level. So very strong support around this kind of 2900 level. Definitely want to keep your eye on that. We do have a new daily, or sorry, let's go to Beyond. You were talking about Beyond. Oh no, we did look at that. Yeah, nice little pivot coming in. Was there another one? You said Kroger. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, Kroger bouncing off a pivot as well. Look at that. Beautiful. Almost to the dollar. What's the low? We missed that by 3 cents. 3 pennies. 113 days in advance. 3 pennies was the difference between that pivot and that wick. Very, very nice. Yeah, the weekly looks like it's definitely finding some resistance here. You kind of have a bulldog playing out. You guys remember that pattern? Curve back, double bottom, popping up. Now maybe into that pullback, and then a push higher. If this starts to kind of flag downward and you get you get like a distribution. Once you break that distribution, you could look really good to retest these upper levels. So keep your eye on that. I'd watch for something like kind of like that. Probably not that deep though. Probably a little shorter. And then a break to the upside. Your targets would be kind of around these pivots here. We don't have any pivots in this range, so probably just look at these other levels around this. Yeah, I like this distribution low here. The distribution low, and then that pivot would be your targets. Let's take a look at the daily close on Bitcoin. The weekly is closing below this pivot, which is not too good. I don't like that. I don't like it's closing below the pivot. You're also closing red on the Momo. The Momo is kind of trapping a little bit. You have kind of a trap signal coming in, which would be a trap, a bull trap. So the bulls are getting trapped here. The daily looks pretty good. We're already turning green on the Momo. We had pretty strong volume yesterday. We were not able to break into a new, well, we did break into a new low, but not a very significant low, like less than, I think it was less than $100. So nothing too crazy yesterday, even on high volume. So it shows the bulls are definitely trying to buy this support here. But nothing is confirmed yet. We have no bull div on the daily. We have no real support coming in. You do have some buy pressure coming in on all these wicks, but nothing too definitive. You kind of look like you're forming a falling wedge, which would be slightly bullish. But yeah, nothing too definitive on the daily. You do have like this liquidity low here, which has not been tested. We talked about this last month. I told you guys all the way up that typically when you have these very clean uptrends and you leave all this liquidity ungrabbed, you pull back and you grab that liquidity. So you grab this level, tried to retrace, failed downward. You tried to grab here, found support, then you grabbed it, and now we're heading down towards this level here. So I'm not worried if we kind of grab this low and then bounce off these pivots and find some support around like 8,082. I think this is still very bullish. But if we start to really break down here and capitulate below this level, it's looking pretty ugly. Like if we start to fail down heavily, it's not looking good. So we're definitely keeping our eye on this level very closely. Let's take a look at Ethereum as well. Same thing on Ethereum, nothing too definitive. You are losing that high on the Momo. You do have some bearish momentum really pushing you down here. Weekly actually created a pivot bar. So you have a new pivot on Ethereum, 276. That is actually our first pivot on the entire BitMEX perpetual chart. This is the very first pivot that's ever been placed. So 276 will be that level, which lines up perfectly, or not perfectly, but very, very close to that doji level that we talked about that actually held price down there. And then the daily on Ethereum, oh, we already talked about that. Nothing too crazy on the daily. You have some buy pressure coming in. You see all these wicks, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks towards the downside, but nothing too crazy on that. Nothing confirmed just yet. Let's go back to lower time frames here. It looks like that short is actually playing out. That short that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream that I said I didn't really want to take, actually playing out nicely here. Oh, you said, can you take a look at CCL? Is that Carnival Cruise? Yeah, Carnival Cruise. They're probably getting... Oh, they're actually doing okay. I was going to say they're probably getting... Oh, no, they are. That was a 5 minute. I was going to say they're probably getting killed because of the coronavirus. And it looks like they definitely are. They are finding some post-dividend support here. But still very... That's a risky play. Betting on cruises, betting on hotels, betting on anything that revolves around tourism and travel during times like this when viruses are spreading, extremely risky. If you guys remember this, Trislas, I don't know if you're in the stream right now. I called out this short months ago, or probably like a month or two ago, pretty long time ago, on Caesar. I ended up not taking it because the liquidity on Robinhood for Caesar is dog shit. It's really bad. It's almost untradeable. So even though it was like an easy trade, I wanted to take it. There's just not a lot of liquidity on Robinhood for me to be able to take it. So I ended up not taking it, sadly. But we called out this short on this weekly high on Caesars. And it had nothing to do with coronavirus. We called it out before coronavirus even happened. But coronavirus is helping this short out beautifully. So if you took those puts, I was targeting $12, I believe. I think Trislas, if you're in here, you can confirm. I think I was targeting $12, and we're almost at our target. Beautiful bear div on the weekly there. But this is an example of what I was talking about. Betting on hotels or anything that revolves around tourism is very risky here. With a pandemic. I don't think it's technically pandemic level yet, but with a virus breaking out, very, very risky. Like MGM, they're doing awful. I don't know a lot of other ones, but Carnival Cruise Line, Caesars. I'm not sure. Does Hilton have Is Hilton? I don't think Hilton is they're not public. Or no, I think it is, yeah. Worldwide Holdings. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, look at them. They're getting killed too. Carnival also had bad PR recently where they had to pay a massive fine because they were finding that their boats were dumping garbage and their waste into the ocean. That is a very bad look for a cruise line. And they're already the lowest tier cruise line, or one of the lowest tiers of the big names. They are, they're like the party boat. I've actually been on like 3 Carnival cruises. They're not bad. But they're not like high end. They're like party boats. If you want to go on a cruise and get drunk and party with your buddies, it's kind of like a college kind of mentality on Carnival. If you want something a little more high end, you want to have a good time, eat some really good food, really good restaurants, Norwegian Cruise Lines is a lot better. Yeah, RCL, Royal Caribbean. They're getting killed. Hyatt Place is probably getting killed. Anything that revolves around tourism, getting destroyed. But alright guys, my throat's getting a little dry here. We've been streaming for a little over an hour. I'm going to call it pretty soon here. Do you guys have any final things you want to take a look at? If you guys are interested in the Discord, like I said, we're doing a discount just for the rest of the day here. I'll probably turn the discount off sometime in the morning before I go to bed. We're dropping the Discord price down to $195 from $299. So if you guys want to get involved in Discord, take a look at the summary of markets, take a look at our bots, Take a look at our analysis. We do free tutoring. Got a ton of educational stuff in the Discord. $195 one-time payment. We don't do monthlies. Use code WRITEUP on the Discord. You can get access to that. And like I said, if you guys want to try out the indicators, this is the only time we've offered anything like this for like a trial. You guys can sign up to EnterDAX using me or Sticky's referral link. Confirm with us in our messages. We'll confirm your username. And you can try out the indicators for 30 days for free. And then if you hit our volume metrics per month, you can keep the indicators. I've got a thread about that. Here, I'll grab the thread and I'll grab the link for you guys. You guys do want to take a look at that? Completely off topic. I opened Twitter here. If you guys are into U.S. politics, it says, I don't know how to say his last name, Pete Buttigieg, or however you say his last name. He dropped out of the race. That is actually pretty surprising. He was doing quite well until that last little North Carolina caucus. Here is the tweet if you guys want to get involved in that EnterDAX promotion. Like I said, we are not being paid by EnterDAX. We have no partnership with them. It's just an exchange that me and Sticky like to use for competitions. Who knows, man? We might even have our own competition on there. I'll hit them up sometime, see if they want to do that. Hey, turn up. You said Dow futures down 200? Yeah, the futures are getting hit, man. Mainly because of the coronavirus. We had our first death in Washington State. Will, you said, I think we'll see a brokered convention this year. What are you referring to? ES is down 26 points. NASDAQ down 80. Dow Jones down 200. I am delayed by 10 minutes. I looked up how much the data would be to get this. It's fucking ridiculous. Don't ever look at how much it costs to get this data on TradingView. It's disgusting. I have data for just about everything on TradingView, and I wanted to get this CME data. It's ridiculous. Here, hold on. I'll tell you exactly how much it is. It's outrageous. Unless you're like a hedge fund or a big time trader, there's no reason to pay for their data on the CME. Where do I see it? Here we go. Worldwide. Yeah, it's $110 a month just for their CME data. That's so ridiculous. $110 a month. Compare that to $2 a month for their stock data. So $2 a month for their stock data, $110 a month for their CME data. Absurd. I can only imagine what CME is charging them. You said U.S. politics, the Democratic primary. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't want to talk too much about politics on stream, but it's really interesting to see the dynamics of the Democratic Party, what's going on. Pete was leading for a little while. You had Warren doing very well, and now Warren's basically, she has no chance. And then Biden was doing awful, and now he's supposedly doing very well again. He's like their number one guy. You don't know what to believe, man. It's just all over the fucking place. You just don't know what to believe. But all right, guys, I'm going to end it on that. Really appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I will not be streaming tomorrow. I don't stream Mondays, but I will be streaming on Tuesday, probably around like 4 p.m. our typical time. Like I said, guys, if you're in the Discord already, take a look at the summary of markets. We spent a lot of time on these write-ups. I hope you guys are getting involved and reading them, and hopefully they're helping you out, man. If you guys join the free Telegram, look at the last 3 write-ups that we did. We're just throwing out money, man. The calls that we're making, or they're not really calls, but the analysis that we're doing on the summary of markets, they're playing out to perfection. The play that Sticky talked about last week, the Ethereum puts, he made big money on those puts. So hopefully you guys are taking a look at the analysis, putting it together with your analysis and making your own decisions. But yeah, that's posted in Discord. The old ones are posted in Telegram. I'm going to have some tutoring on Wednesday. If you guys want to join me for some one-on-one free tutoring, that's in the Discord as well. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Got some big things coming soon. We're finalizing some agreements with some big companies, big partnerships. I'll let you guys know when I can, probably later this week or next week. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Like I said, if you want to join the Discord, top right, use code WRITEUP. Get the Discord for $1.95. And that's it. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good rest of your weekend. Stay safe, guys. Peace out.